and I'm a high school student who's rising senior this year. Yeah. And so my questions vary from your experience in school to your interest and stuff. So I'm gonna start my questions right now.
Okay.
Okay. So we've read from your resume that you've studied at the college in Galway, Ireland, and also in Trinity College, and then in Harvard. So what's your biggest takeaway from each college you went to, including the one in Ireland?
Yeah. So as an undergraduate student at Trinity in Hartford, Connecticut, studying economics, my biggest takeaway, let me think.
It could be like academic or personal, or like, it could be, everything.
Okay, yeah. You know, academically, I think at Trinity, I'm very grateful that I had that strong foundation. I feel like learning economics and kind of the other classes that made up that major gave me a really solid foundation. And, you know, I did start off in business, but now have worked more in international development. But, you know, there were probably some majors that wouldn't have been as easy to start off in business and then gone into international development. So at Trinity, I'm grateful for the foundation, academic foundation that was kind of put out there. At the time also, Trinity had an open curriculum. So beyond the major, there were very few requirements. So I was also able to experiment and take a variety of different classes like art history and Spanish and a religion class and several literature classes. So I also I guess my prime takeaway is the strength of a liberal arts degree. So a liberal arts college where you can take such a variety of different classes. I'm very grateful for that. Another aspect of Trinity that's not academic, but I ran cross country, so I was part of the cross country team while at Trinity. And we had meets, competitions throughout the fall, and I needed to be really disciplined because we trained pretty hard, and then on Saturdays we competed. But I'm grateful for that foundation also and the lifelong friends that I made through the athletic competition and our team. So that's at Trinity in Hartford. While I was still an undergraduate student, I studied at University College Galway. So I did that for a semester. And I was very interested in studying in Ireland because both of my grandmothers were born in Ireland. And I really wanted to learn more about the culture and customs in the country. So being exposed to Ireland and history and sociology and literature, I'm very grateful for that experience. And I know more about my own heritage by being there. And I was also able to visit with relatives that I had never met before. So I'm grateful for that experience. And then coming to Harvard's Kennedy School of Government, kind of going back, what I touched upon earlier, my greatest takeaway from the Kennedy School experience is the richness and diversity of my fellow classmates. Like, I have learned so much from my fellow classmates to learn about their culture, customs, countries, their work experiences. That is my greatest takeaway, are my fellow classmates and the relationships, both personal and professional, that I developed there and continue now 12 years later. The program that I was a part of was the Harvard's Kennedy School of Government, the mid-career program in public administration. And so it was a mid-career program. The average age of the student was age 38. So we had a classmate that was 70 years old, and then our youngest classmate was 28. But I'm so grateful for my experience at the Kennedy School, and primarily grateful for the experience because of my classmates. Our mid-career program included 220 students from 56 different countries, and the diversity of students that were represented was so amazing. We had an American astronaut in our class. We had a Nigerian archbishop. We now have the Prime Minister of Bhutan. At the time, he was not a Prime Minister. And the 70-year-old gentleman was a congressman for over 30 years here in the United States. But classmates from all over the world created such a rich opportunity for us to interact. It's really classmates that I'm so very grateful to, and that network that's been established. Certainly, being in Cambridge and at Harvard was wonderful, and the professors were wonderful, and the classes that we had the opportunity to participate in were wonderful. But my greatest takeaway from the experience was my fellow classmates, and to that I am most grateful.
Okay, so during your time in Harvard, you also worked as a officer for the career office?
Actually, that was after.
After, okay.
That I worked, yeah.
Okay, so can you give a piece of advice for students who are currently not sure about their future, whether it's major or a career or profession?
Yeah, I think when it comes to students, always be curious and want to learn more. I think for high school students, just having conversations with people, and if you have an opportunity to have any type of internship while in high school or college, that's a wonderful experience. But really being open to opportunities and seeking out advice, and maybe the idea of shadowing someone, and that could be for as short as a day or maybe a couple of days, just try to walk with someone in their shoes if there's an area that someone might be interested in. I think always be open, and I think for all of us, we often feel pressures of family and think that we need to do something because this is what our family expects. And those are certainly understandable pressures, but at the end of the day, a person needs to be happy too. And I think pursuing different passions, if you know that you're passionate about something, how important it is to follow those passions. So being open, following your passions, I think those are really important. And always being open to listen and learn.
Okay. And also during your time in working for the office, you also had to recruit different speakers for your students.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's sort of related to what we're doing for this project right now. It's like, what are some ways that you discover at least like dynamic and diverse people to speak with your students?
Yeah, lots of conversations. Yep, talking to lots of people. And actually, but I think just by asking and talking to people, and people, generally do want to help. So getting speakers to come to the Kennedy School, it wasn't difficult. It was just needing to know what the students really wanted to hear about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And sort of going into your work and for the Peace Corps and living in different places. So obviously you've lived overseas. It's like in Ukraine and Ireland. And then just within the U.S., you've lived in different states too. So what are some lessons you've learned from like living in different places, or just the fact that you had the chance to live in different places?
Yeah, I'm, again, very grateful for the opportunities that I had. And kind of one thing that really struck me at a young age, my family's from Boston originally, and when I was 10 years old, to Florida. And you'd think, oh, it's the United States, there are no big differences between Boston, Massachusetts, and Florida, but I had a really thick Boston accent when I was 10. And my classmates, my 10-year-old classmates in Florida said, you talk funny, we don't understand what you're say. So language challenges, even at a young age within the United States. I mean, the Boston accent is, go park the car over there. And people say, what did you just say? So in a non-accent, or like, go park the car over there. So cultural nuances, certainly, and learning those at a young age, and things that, you know, kids or families did in Boston were the same as what kids and families did in Florida, some differences there. And in terms of lessons learned, certainly, you know, in Boston and Florida, I was with my family, but when I set out for school, college in Connecticut, I went to college, I got on a plane, my parents brought me to the airport, I got on the plane, and I found my way from the airport to college, and not knowing anyone there, and I think, again, like, putting oneself out there and challenging oneself by being exposed to new cities, new places, new opportunities. So just living in different cities and places here in the U.S., I think, helped prepare me for the time I spent in Ireland, and then the time I spent in Ukraine. Going to Ukraine, I knew no one, could not speak a word of Russian or Ukrainian, and, you know, you learn by doing things, being open to new ideas and new cultures and customs. I think it can make our lives so much richer when we have that openness and willing to listen and learn and share.
Okay. Yeah, so my last question for the interview was, if you could give your younger self a piece of advice or simply just a message, what would you tell her?
You know, I think when I was in my 20s, I really thought I knew myself. And I thought I knew so much. And now that it's over 20 years later, I realize how little I actually know. And so I think my advice to my younger self is be more curious. Spend as much time as you can with elders. Like, I am grateful for the success of my friends, but I wish I could have spent even more time. Like, the ability to know your elders and know where you come from, and just an openness of always wanting to learn more from people and their experiences. Because, again, I think back to my 20s, and particularly when I started off in the business world, I thought I knew so much. And now I realize how very little I knew then. And I feel like there's still so much for me to learn. And I'm excited about that. I always become learning more. But, yeah, that would be my advice to my younger self. Be more curious. Want to spend more time with my elders. Want to really take it all in. And know that we can learn so much from each other.